Life is a game, and you've been played. I'm sure you've heard the cliche saying that life is a game, and it sounds just like a cool phrase, but when actually pondered on what that means, it makes sense. I'm sure you've played video games or know someone who has. This video is a thought-provoking compilation filled with various videos that will display across your screen just to entice you to think. Listen to the information I share along with analyzing the videos that you see. Let's begin. Have you ever asked yourself who's in control? No, really. Who's actually in control? Are you able to make changes that will impact everyone? Or are you steered by what you hear, think, and see, or perceive this life to be? Really ask yourself these questions as I dive deep into all of the information that you need to know as to why and how you've been played like a video game. When you are born, the doctor has your mother and father fill out an affidavit for what is called a birth certificate. The birth certificate is the bond that places your all-caps name, as known as the straw man, into the stock market as common stock trade. As with maritime law, which is the law of the sea, the port authority doesn't allow the captain to dock the ship until they show what is called the birth certificate of manifest, which tells the port authority the value of the cargo on board the ship. Essentially, that is what the human birth certificate is. The spirit enters the human body at the time of birth. The human body is just a vessel, like a ship, that carries the spirit or soul through this realm. When the government created the straw man in your name, they spiritually attached you to your artificial intelligence system known as the human body. The birth certificate is nothing more than a physical and spiritual contract that binds you to the flesh. Everything is sacred geometry. The matrix is ran by numbers, ranging from 0 to 9, 9 being the highest number. Any number after 9 is just a combining of two single numbers to create a number that truly doesn't exist. Our bodies are intelligent operating systems. This is why people call the human body an avatar. Just like in the movie Avatar. Someone with a completely different soul or spirit animated the avatar body. That also goes for us living in this flesh suit. The U.S. Constitution does not give one single right. It just reaffirms your inalienable rights. Inalienable rights are God-given. You are of the Creator. You are sovereign because of that. Without sovereign rights, you have no rights. That is why you must correct your status. You were born sovereign, but your parents were tricked into believing they had to sign an affidavit of birth, which is how you became a citizen, a 14th Amendment citizen who has no rights. You elected to pay taxes because they are voluntary. However, you thought you had to fill out the W-9 to get that job. That's when you elected to start being taxed. Registrations and applications are the tool needed to lock you into subtle contracts that further give up your rights. Land ownership is from the Creator. We have natural rights to the land we live on. The powers that be cannot break the laws of the universe. They know this, so they use tricky tactics to gain our consent so they can benefit. Your implied consent is your permission. Implied consent is when someone does something to you and you either don't realize it or you do and you don't say anything about it. A loyal title means the king's land. The king holds the land. The king is the sovereign, having birthrights to the land and everything in it. If you don't know your rights, you don't have any. Fear is the method used to control the masses. Fear is low vibrational, and the energy they use against us to not only feed themselves as reptilians, but also to keep us at the bottom and them at the top. The only high vibrational energy that conquers fear is knowledge. Gaining knowledge and knowing instead of believing is what will cause you to break free from the spell. There is land held in private trust that is already set up for us. That is why genealogy is very vital, because depending on your bloodline and true connection to American soil, that is what determines what may be left behind for you by your ancestors. Up until 1944, when you purchased land, you got the entire title for that land, called abstract of title. But bankers and title companies came together and created warranty deeds. Warranty deeds provide you with absolutely no ownership of the land, which is known as color of title. It is nothing more than equitable interest in the land, a fraudulent version of your patent. There are two jurisdictions: common law, also known as constitutional, and administrative. Whenever you hear the word administrative, it means corporation. The Act of 1871 is when the United States became a corporation, when Congress unlawfully incorporated the United States and made Washington, D.C. federal. In law, when the word for is used in the context that it is used, it means dominant. Dominant rights means more authority. Servient rights means slave. They taught us to follow the Constitution. They taught us in their school system. They taught us how to think, what to think about, and how to feel about it. They tell you they are government, but they are set up like a corporation. The government representatives are nothing more than employees following orders, just like a cashier at McDonald's. They have a boss, someone they must answer to. They tell you they are government. They act as a government, but there are things that take place behind the scenes that are purposely kept away from the masses. A corporate structure has an element of law. All law states that you cannot have jurisdiction over that which you did not create. This is universal law. That is why they use the media as a major way to gain collective consent to move forward with their plans. The Holy Bible is a playbook and tool necessary for this plan to play out accordingly. We are currently under Roman law. So when the cities, counties, states, and federal government became corporations, they created what is known as the straw man, all caps name, because they created a corporation off of your existence to contract you both physically and spiritually to consent to the creation of a ens legis, false version of you, to siphon your energy and money to capitalize off of it. Money, fiat currency, only holds value because we give it value. It's literally held up by our energy, our currency. Currents come from electricity. We are electric beings, energy. The so-called black person, which in law means civilly dead corporation, has the highest spending power because we have the greatest currency of every being on this planet. They can capitalize the most from the so-called black race, so they do. Your status and consent is the only reason why we don't own and have anything. Unless you own property, you are property. If you don't use your brain, someone else will use it for you. Even in their playbook, the Bible, they told you what would happen during the time of revelation. Revelation means reveal. The truth is and has been revealed. With the help of our ancestors, we have and are being awakened and stirred to return to the ways of old. Now we must take a look at who the true enemy is. Again, as I said before, they taught us how and what to think. So with the knowledge they withheld from us, they used it against us. The so-called white person has also been a victim of this evil plan. They orchestrated a mindset in the white mind that makes them hold dear to lies. With scientific proof as fact, it is a well-known fact that the so-called white person doesn't have the same melanin as the so-called black person. The lack of neuromelanin is what causes the so-called white person to have a calcified pineal gland at a young age. So they are unable to reach the same levels of self-awareness as the so-called black person, which causes them to be extremely egotistical. The evil powers are well aware of this fact and uses it to their benefit to divide and conquer. They teach the egotistical so-called white man that they are superior, all while pumping them with historical lies to grow their egos. This is why when the so-called white man finds out this truth, they first become very angry. The other side of the coin is the black man, the so-called black man. They teach the so-called black man that they are weak, worthless, and have no purpose but to work and consume. They know that the so-called black man is spiritually dominant because of the neuromelanin in our brains, which is nothing more than a supercomputer chip. They programmed us to fight amongst one another. The Tower of Babel story in the Bible told you that. There was a time when we all worked together, with women as leadership. Hence the story of Nimrod and Semiramis. The Roman playbook taught you to hate women, especially the so-called black woman, who in reality is the Creator and the Holy Spirit. And I know by the time of this video you are in your feelings or completely lost. But the truth is not always pretty, you see. When you are unfolding and peeling back the layers of the onion, you begin to cry. Because the truth is very ugly, and you've been lied to about everything. Come out of the system. Come out of the labels. Open your eyes and realize that we are all under the status of a slave. We are all under the status of a dead corporation. We are all under the status of the bottom of the pyramid. As inflation increases and America falls more every day, we need to begin to look around at who's the true enemy and why we've been pitted against each other for so long. To the so-called white person, relearn history. You have been massively lied to about the historical figures that you see in your history books. You have been massively lied to about your superiority in this world, when in fact you are the youngest race of human. Now is not the time to be stuck in your ego, because that won't change the circumstances we are all facing. You must relearn everything that you've been taught and understand the hierarchy that is truly at hand. This will be a hard pill to digest, but it must be taken at face value. This is a warning to any person who chooses to go against the laws of the universe. You may get away with it for some time, but karma is real. To the so-called black person, you must learn who you are. You have been massively lied to about your origin. You have been massively lied to by those history books that they gave us in the school systems. You must move away from the stereotypes that were perpetuated on our people to cause us to fall greatly and rise back to who you truly are, with the blood of your ancestors coursing through your veins. Now we must come to the conclusion that the fight is not against one another, my fellow so-called black and white individuals, but the fight is against the powers that hide behind cloaks in dark rooms, causing us to fight over things that they created for us in this realm of duality, this or that, good or bad, heavenly or hell. You make the choice. So stop being distracted by all of these common distractions that the masses are caught up in, and go and learn. Do you see how far not using your brain can get you as a people? How far we've come away from our true nature to live in a society that was created for us, that tells us how to move and what to do. You have been played like a video game, and you are in the game called life, which every day that you wake up, it should become more clear that you are not in control. However, that should not stop you from gaining back your control, from gaining back your consent, from gaining back your mind, to remove the shackles of the mental prison that have been placed on you when your mother and father signed that birth certificate. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe so that this video can reach millions of other people who have a mindset to become free from the slave system that we are in. As a collective, let's break free from this matrix and unite as one to put an end to the patriarchal system that has caused us nothing but stress, destruction, and hate. It is time to love and join hands and make everything work for our benefit. No longer are we slaves. We take back our power. We are divine trust babies.